Stephen's Ukrainian Catholic Parish Church had its humble beginnings in southwest Calgary with the rental of the St. James Hall. This hall was used for our Sunday services and our social events. It was a very useful, practical building. Social events always attended well and enjoyable with families and parishioners. Facility was used for 2 or 3 years until the fall of 1971. In the fall of 71, Bishop Neil Saverin and Father Greszczuk, our pastor, Father Martinuk, had a sod turning ceremony on 4903 45th Street to mark the sod turning of our new social center, which was going to be built shortly thereafter. St. Stephen's Social Center is a modest building, cement block construction, large enough to hold our liturgies and also to be used as a social event and a fundraising place for future parish activities. The location is 4903 45th Street, Southwest Calgary. Father Greszczuk was very pleased to move into his new parish residence, which are attached to the facility, and certainly before long, July 1972, our first blessings and divine liturgies were held in the facilities. Of course, the choir is always an important part of our parish. The St. Stephen's facility was always an interesting one. It was fun to put up the chairs on the Saturday evening and to make sure that facilities were ready for Sunday services. Father Greszczuk was very pleased at the official opening in 1972 of our facilities. Guest Bishop O'Byrne was present. Mayor Rod Sykes entertained our young children. Greeting Ronnie Satchku, one of our parishioners. St. Stephen's Catholic Parish, the inscription on the outside of the facilities. It was always interesting to try and raise funds to cover off our parish needs. The charity bazaar was one of the favorite ones. The men always pitched in on this one. It's about a $3,500 fundraising activity at the Chinook Shopping Center. And the ladies, of course, prepared the food, but the men did what we called the heavy work. It was an experience of really pulling our parishioners together. Another fundraising activity was our car raffle. We raffled 3 cars and raised approximately $60,000. What an event. Certainly a large committee and selling tickets in every mall in the city of Calgary and Edmonton were part of the plans. Then came the night of the big draw. It was a great occasion. One of the cars that was won by a parishioner. Halloween and social events, always a great time at St. Stephen's. Pumpkin carving contests, dress-up contests, all kinds of events where the parishioners could really let loose and enjoy themselves anytime at St. Stephen's. Don Bobbin acting up as he usually does in his favorite swimsuit costume. Stan Kwasnowski doing his favorite act in one of our social events, probably Halloween. Joan Nasachuk doing a little bit of well-wishing to one of our parishioners. And of course, it was always necessary to have a palm reader at our social events. They were popular. Dressing up for St. Stephen's events was always fun, well attended, and good fundraising functions. Bill and Mary Lysak, 25th anniversary. What an event, a mock wedding. Yes, that is a man in the bride's dress. And certainly we provided all of the fun for these kinds of activities. Merle Kuczynski, vice president of our functions, and the men usually got together and enjoyed a good card game, inside or outside. First Communion and children, what our parish is all about. Always many young people at our First Communion celebrations, and certainly well attended with parishioners, and always the popular communion breakfast. Jim and Pat Ochitwa with Rob, one of their sons. Kwasnowskis with Stephen, their young son. Some of the young Bobbin family, Stephen Kwasnowski again. And then everyone together. Presentations to the young communicants was always well received and presented by the ladies. A certificate of their First Communion record was presented them by the parish priest. Social functions of many kinds included campouts, and certainly campouts in and near around Calgary. One of the most popular ones was a campout at Drumheller. The youngsters usually entertained us and certainly kept us up late at night, and there was all kinds of activities planned for everyone. Fishing, hunting, hiking excursions, and at times sliding down the slippery slopes in the Drumheller. Making of crafts, and just generally enjoying the Drumheller scenery. The evening time was a time for relaxation, and the time that the ladies put together the meal where everyone pitched in and provided the food. Great, great evening. One of the occasions was a visit to the Drumheller Parish Church with all of the young people. We attended the liturgy. Certainly, many of the young people in our parish were involved in assisting the ladies in their functions. And our parish was particularly well received at the Drumheller with the Drumheller parishioners. Provided fine food for us and was enjoyed by all. Young dancers at St. Stephen's, the cultural group, always provided dance entertainment as well as learned their dance steps from many of our parishioners, instructing them. Some of the young men assisted in the functions that they could. Some of the young men doing their dance routines looked just fantastic in their Ukrainian costumes, and certainly learned the dance traditions of the Ukrainian peoples. Parents always very proud of them. One of the highlights of the dance was the soloist, either the boys or the girls, or dancing in teams, showing off their fine stuff to their parents and their family and friends. This was usually concluded with a concert provided by all of the children on stage. Many of the functions were varied and certainly ended up with everyone getting a picture provided by the parish of their group. Many of them maintain these mementos today. Sunday afternoon in the summer, a picnic at Glenmore Dam was very quickly organized and certainly attended well because of it being in the proximity of the parish church. It's a fine Sunday afternoon just to enjoy and relax. It wasn't long before it was time to burn the mortgage of St. Stephen's Hall, and certainly then to do a sod turning for our new parish church. This happened in May 1981. The parish church was designed to be built right adjacent to the social properties, to the social center, and was very well designed by Rad Jouk of Montreal. The church is a very unique design, has won awards for its uniqueness and its design. And the next few slides will show you as the church takes shape and takes its construction proceeds, takes its very unique shape. One of the uniqueness of the church construction is the domes. This church features 3 copper domes and were constructed and put together on the ground and then hoisted into place. The brilliant, bright copper could be seen through a great portion of southwest Calgary as it was being put together. These domes represent the onion-shaped domes that are characteristic of the Byzantine Rite. Certainly the design of the church has brought attention to St. Stephen's Parish from many parts of Canada and yes, even from around the world. There are the domes put together in their proper order and in a very unique position, and certainly a highlight and a feature of the construction of St. Stephen's Parish. The inside construction also features a choir loft, which is unusual. This one is at the side of the altar rather than at the rear of the church, which is traditional with many of our parish churches. Wood and brick construction. And the construction also signifies the rockiness of the mountains and the cutaway portions to show the cragginess of the terrain around Calgary, namely the Rocky Mountains. St. Stephen's Parish in its entirety. This is a photograph taken by Stephen Kwasniewski and is being presented to the builders, Hugh McMillan, and the building committee. This picture by Stan Kwasniewski has been used on postcards and has become a very popular symbol of our parish. The building committee, Don Bobbin, presenting a picture to Father Andy Mazeka, the parish priest of the time. The blessing of St. Stephen's was to follow very quickly. The official blessing of the altar, Bishop O'Byrne, Father Phil Shindook, Bishop Greshchuk, our pastor who is now a bishop, Father Andy Mazeka, this was in April 1982 and certainly was attended by all parishioners and honored with the Knights of Columbus. The blessing of the altar, placing the relics in the four corners of the altar. And of course the liturgy itself, which was the highlight of the day. This was September 26, 1982. As the facilities became more used and the parish grew, our social functions also grew. Pop Stomp, a Western theme event in Stampede time, was one of our popular activities. Enjoying a barbecue outdoors, and doing a bit of clowning around, typical during the Stampede time. Father Andy Mazeka was with us when he celebrated his 25th anniversary in the priesthood. It was a great occasion for St. Stephen's Parish. Joe Sekundiak presenting to Father, along with Leszek Sachko, some of the tributes and mementos. Youth, ladies, all had their opportunity to present Father with well wishes. On this occasion, Father Andy was pleased to have his father with him, celebrating this 25th anniversary. Of course, the ladies always provided just a grand meal. Liturgy was celebrated the next day, and Father Andy Mazeka was in his glory. As usual, Bishop Greshchuk enjoyed being with his parishioners. Here are some of the ladies who were preparing food, and a fine shot of Bishop Greshchuk on one of his visits to St. Stephen's. The bread and salt, of course, traditionally being presented to His Excellency during the official blessing of St. Stephen's Parish. Then Father Hupelo joined us in September 1985, the new parish priest. Enjoyed a stay in Calgary. And Father Hupelo joined us and visited with us through the 1988 millennium and for several years after. The millennium of 1988, which celebrated the 1,000 years of Christianity in the world, in the Ukraine, was a great event with many activities planned in our parish. This event coincided with the 1988 Olympics and certainly brought attention to St. Stephen's Parish in a liturgical way, as well in a celebration of the worlds coming together in Calgary. This was a very serious time for many parishioners because of what was happening in eastern Ukraine at the time with the dismantling of the Russian Empire. The Millennium facilities. Facilities certainly took place in Calgary throughout the city, both parishes, the Assumption and St. Stephen's, and were participated in by all members of the parish, the young, the elderly, and certainly the young people of St. Stephen's. Bishop Greszczuk was with us at this particular time and was celebrating the Millennium services with us. Shortly after that, we had a Millennium mission in St. Stephen's with Father Keba from Toronto. Just a wonderful experience, spiritual experience with all the parishioners, and inviting many outside parishioners from the Roman Catholic rite as well. Father Keba, in his usual way, certainly a very uplifting speaker. Social events in St. Stephen's seem to be as important as anything else, and certainly the social center provided us with the opportunity to have the ladies show their stuff and their cooking, and certainly in their ability to present fine meals, and yes, raise funds with that as well. And again, Bishop Greszczuk certainly enjoying the ladies of St. Stephen's Parish. There was always a little bit of cleanup after our events. Of course, this was cheerfully done by all of our parishioners. Celebration of the liturgy in St. Stephen's with the choir singing, both English and Ukrainian services, now reaches to 300 parishioners approximately every Sunday. Blessings during the Millennium year were well attended by all of the Calgarians and Ukrainians of Calgary, and certainly the Knights of Columbus provided a large awareness by putting up billboards in the city, and the parish also put up the bronze plaque in the vestibule, and it still is there today. I know I'm somebody because God don't make no junk. That's the motto of our little kids in the parish, and we love them for it. One of the events at St. Stephen's is the Stag. This gentleman's event raised funds and does raise funds, continues to, every Christmas, or rather every January, and the funds are provided, the food is provided by the ladies, and is a $25,000 fundraising activity. Linda Dudar, our choir director, now 10 years, in 1993 rather, providing choir direction. Some of the events, visit to St. Mary's Cathedral in Calgary, providing music and choir music for their liturgy. Very well received by the Bishop of Bern and St. Mary's Parish. And the choir really enjoyed visiting many parishes in the city of Calgary and outside of Calgary, providing with our Ukrainian music, both in English and Ukrainian. One of the occasions of our choir was to travel to Derwent. This is just outside of Edmonton, and it was a social event as well as an opportunity to participate in the liturgy at Derwent. Of course, if you know choir people, they love singing and they love enjoying themselves, and this weekend was no exception. Our hosts at Derwent were gracious certainly looked after our choir while we were there. Bus trips to Lethbridge to visit Father Andy's parish in there was in the plans, and certainly just part of the fun that our parish enjoyed in visiting other parishioners. Easter is always a great occasion in the Ukrainian parishes, along with the early Easter Sunday Mass and the traditional blessing of the Easter baskets. We now will be looking at a collage of shots of St. Stephen's Parish, just to give you an overview of some of the activities. This is Bishop Greszczyk with the Sereshka family. Lesya Sachku at her podium, telling us how to do it. First communicants, preparing our Easter foods. Visiting parish priests and our senior parishioners of St. Stephen's, who we really cherish. Our cook and bottle washer, Larry Sachku. Father Muzeka and his ladies organization, and a host of activities at St. Stephen's Parish.